digital era. So different how to increase the effectiveness of our communication skills. And also we look at how to get our product registered in different part of ASEAN country. And the third one we have discussed different type of promotional tools used for pharmaceutical marketing. So today we are going to look at how we can use research and what kind of research method that could be used to test our hypothesis and to help us to improve the sales of our pharmaceutical products. Okay. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, all questions will be welcome. Towards the end of today's webinar, I will be giving the assignment also. So please stay until the end of today's webinar. We will go through 6 learning objectives today. Mainly the first few parts, we will go still recap or go through how the pharmaceutical marketing is related to different type of method used to examine the effectiveness of pharmaceutical marketing. Okay. We also will go through what are exploratory and conclusive research. Okay. And of course, we're going to go through the processes and the method used in pharmaceutical marketing, okay, to conduct a relevant research project. And also, we slightly touch on the different ethical issues when conducting marketing research. And slightly touch on also on the Internet of Things. What is the influence of internet and data science in our marketing research? And lastly, on different tools or e-marketing tools used, including the decision support system, okay, to sharpen our marketing strategy. So this one we have gone through 2 weeks ago on the marketing mix. If you remember the 4P, which the mnemonic stand for price, place, product, and promotions. Just hang on. Give me 1 second. Sorry, because. Yeah, so really sorry about that. Yeah, because I'm waiting for one very important call. Yeah. Now let's continue. So when we discuss the promotional tools, as we have previously touched on, samples detailing, which is the representative, the sales rep will go to see either the doctors or the pharmacists, and then direct to consumer advertising. Lastly, professional advertising. Okay, you can try to refresh your memory or based on what we have discussed before. Okay, now moving on, let's talk about the pharmaceutical marketing research. What is marketing research? Okay, this is somewhat similar to your counterpart or your friend studying marketing or business. Okay, just that our focus mainly on the pharmaceutical part or pharmaceutical product or healthcare. Okay, so marketing research is the process of planning, collecting, and analyzing data relevant to a pharmaceutical marketing decisions. Okay, the pharmaceutical marketing decisions, either the client or the patients want to start a treatment, or medical treatments, or start a new drugs, or start a new health supplements. Okay, so the research will try to link and connect the patients, customer, and public to the researchers. We are the researchers, also the pharmacists, also the marketers. Okay, through different type of product informations. Okay, so the research can provide data on the effectiveness as well as the marketing mix use, the marketing mix use, as you know, the 4P, and provide a necessary changes just in case that, for example, if you see the sales have become slow, people have slowly shifting to another type of product, then what you can do to regain the confidence or regain the sales. Okay, this is the main data source for marketing information system. Towards the end of our webinars, we're also going to discuss what is this marketing information system. Okay. Now, when we have to work on pharmaceutical marketing research, okay, here highlighted 2 points, quite straightforward. When there is a new product, or you want to know the perceptions of the market on those, for example, the 4P that we have mentioned, or the quality, price, and timings of the or timing of marketing to market a certain product. Okay, just like, for example, movie, they also choose a certain season to launch their movie. Okay, and the second one is quite straightforward. The invested marketing budget, if can exceed your sales, then it will be a worthwhile investment, isn't it? So that is when you have the value of the research, okay, exceed the cost of generating the information, because research doesn't come free. It involves human resource, it involves tools. Okay, so all these things you need to budget before you roll out any particular marketing tools or marketing strategy. So what are the 3 roles of the marketing research? Here listed the first descriptive roles, and the diagnostic roles, and as well as predictive role. Let's look at the first one. What does it describe? It helps to describe or present factual statements of some certain, that means it consolidate the information about your known information. Okay, like, for example, what is the sales trend in the industry? Okay, so you have new data, or they call it primary data. Or data, we're going to go through what are the primary and secondary data. Okay, what are the consumers' attitude towards a product? So this one we will look at the either qualitative and the quantitative data. Okay, diagnostic, here when we know diagnostic, we are trying to determine a disease, isn't it? But this one is to explain the data. Okay, the impact of, like, for example, impact of sales after there is a new change in the design of packaging, or there is a new market TV commercials. Okay, third one, predictive, as suggested by the name, we will foresee, okay, what to address, what if we have done a new packaging, what if we have hire more sales rep. Okay, so this can help to predict before you invest certain money, you using certain partial of the allocated money, then you will be able to know what will be the impact of such investment. As you know, the pharma industry is very fast-paced and keep changing. Previously, now the latest trend is we are talking about how to integrate IoT, Internet of Things. What is IoT in our pharmaceutical marketing? Okay. So the things or technology of applications that involve use of IT or internet is commonly termed as the IoT. Have the different areas of IoT. For example, IoT enable shops, airport, okay, different devices, okay. One of the easiest example, most significant example will be the use of your mobile phone. Okay, let's look at the penetration rate of a smartphone in the selected country. This one is data from last year, staying at the top in terms of usage or penetrations. The prevalence of use of smartphone 82. And if you look at the Indonesia is doing very well, so around 61.7, just behind Turkey, and then ahead of Thailand in terms of penetration rate of smartphone. So easily, like out of 100 people, around 62 people will have access or have at least one mobile phone. So this is a mobile phone that can provide a very powerful e-marketing tools, which we're going to discuss towards the end, the use of e-marketing tools. Okay, so why is important to use pharmaceutical marketing research, and what's the application? Okay, help to improve the quality of decision making. Now you have a firmer confidence that by doing A and B, then you will achieve certain degree of changes on, okay, and help the pharmacist trace problem scientifically, identify what are the real root problem. They have these different tools can be used to identify, like for example, the fishbone method. Okay, help pharmacists understand detailed and complicated relationship. This is, for example, if you want to do a conclusive research to determine the relationship or the correlations. Okay, we're going to further discuss about this. What are these complicated relationships? Okay, and in this way, we have better knowledge that can translate these informations to our client. Okay, here presented 7 processes or steps of conducting pharmaceutical marketing research. And I have integrated the research method in this throughout the steps also. Okay, let's go through one by one. First of all, let's look at the different type of data. So just now I did mention the primary data and secondary data. I'm sure you are aware already, okay? Let's look at first the secondary data. Secondary data is from the literatures or reports, published report from other scientists or third parties, okay? These include, for example, information presented on the company website, government statistics, okay, published market research report, which you can download easily. Most of the information now is open access, okay? And on the other hand, we also have the primary data. When we say primary data, it means a new data that you collected by yourself, or sometimes we call it empirical data or empirical research. Here presented 4 different methods to collect the empirical of studies or empirical primary, collect the primary data. We're going to go through later what are these: focus group, in-depth interview, social media monitoring, and survey. Okay. So as a comparison, we have primary and secondary data. But what are the advantages and disadvantages of the secondary data, which data you can download or collect from the internet, or either through subscriptions or without subscriptions? Okay. Yes, it saves time and money because you don't have to do a study yourself. As I mentioned just now, studies doesn't come cheap. You involve budget to run a new study. It helps to formulate the problem statements because by reading other people's study, which is aligned with your aim and objective, then you will help to refine your problem statement. Okay. Suggest research method and data. Okay. So you are able to see that for different type of studies, you have to use suitable or appropriate research method, and this by looking at the published report, it helps you to determine. So okay, pinpoint the populations and some samples. We're going to discuss what are the sampling method. Okay, this one serves as a basis comparisons. If you read your research article in the discussions, normally they will compare other similar studies. So this the comparison is necessary because it helps to benchmark your data. Okay. What are the disadvantages? Okay, it may not give adequate detailed information because some researcher didn't report very detailed method. So if you want to duplicate study, sometimes you have difficulty doing so. Okay. And also accuracy. Yeah, this is ironically, we have to accept the fact that sometimes the result presented in the article, okay, sometimes there could be bias, or the data collected might not be accurate. So later we look at the validities and also the accuracies of data set. Okay, you must take with a pinch of salt sometimes when you read some reports. Okay, don't 100% trust the reported data. Okay. Okay, let's look at how to plan study design, research design. This is somewhat you're going to do this for your assignment. Okay, you have to come up with a research design based on a given case. Okay. So the research design is important because it lists down what are your research questions, how to collect, where to when to collect the data, and how the data will be analyzed. So this is what you have. You can find out from the method sections of the research and of research articles. Okay, project budget is finalized after the research design is approved. Yeah, this one we're going to compare also in terms of how much money need to spend for certain study design. Okay, some certain study design, for example, focus group, if you just do one focus group, is relatively cheaper to be conducted if you want to do home-based interview. Okay. So this diagram show the market research design and planning process. Actually, the information is similar to the 7 process that we have you have seen just now. Okay, so this is just in the circle, in the loop, presented as a circle. So it's like closing the loop. If you see the step 1 to 7 also, we're going to discuss how in the end from monitoring which lead to a new research questions. Now let's look at the 2 forms of data. Just now I slightly touched on, which you also very well aware. when we collect the data, sometimes the supervisor or lecturer will ask, oh, is it a qualitative data or is it a quantitative data? Qualitative data refers to the descriptive non-numerical information, which is the script or your descriptions in terms of how you describe it in a text. Okay. On the other hand, quantitative data is numericals, can be counted in digit number. Like for example, the frequency, standard deviations, prevalence, how many percentages. Okay. Okay, let's also compare what are the exploratory research and conclusive research. These terms are commonly used in the marketing research. Okay. Exploratory, as suggested by the name, explore, to gather more information about a problem. First, you generate some ideas and you identify there is a problem. Okay, so you will do exploratory research, okay, to find out more informations, okay, before you go towards the conclusive research. Okay. So this helps you to determine some preliminary hypothesis or tentative hypothesis. Okay, I'm going to go through what is the hypothesis later. I'm quite sure you also have learned this term before. Okay, so exploratory research help to make us understand better a problem or situations, okay, and to identify whether additional data are needed. Okay, these are the two examples of exploratory research. First one is a customer advisory board. Second one is the focus group. Okay, customer advisory board. Okay, in some certain company, they have the stakeholder from the customer to form a formal committees, so that this committee will provide information or generate ideas about the product, and also help to list down what are the attitudes towards the product. So in this case, can help the company to strategize the marketing research or marketing strategy. Okay. Second one, focus group. This is commonly used. If I'm quite sure you involved in focus group before. Okay. So this is, you have a group of 8 to 10, it can be less or more, depends how what is your requirement or how easy to group all these people together. Okay, bigger groups, then you have not necessarily more idea. It depends on the group dynamics. Okay, here in the focus group, let me show you example one focus group. Here, this is the room where focus group is conducted, and sometimes if a proper in research company, they have this one-way glass to see the response and also their facial expression, how excited or what is their facial expression, which they will take notes when certain things or issue was brought up. Okay, the whole sessions also with the consent of the participants will be video recorded. Then they will be analyze the qualitative data. This is the qualitative data because this is more descriptive, talking about how excited they are, what are the terms they use to describe something, any jargon they use. This is how a proper one-way glass focus group rooms is built, which is the participant, they are aware they are being observed, okay, to prevent any psychological effect or to prevent them from speaking up. Okay, now let's look at the conclusive research. Okay, compared to the exploratory research, conclusive research is to verify insight, to confirm a statement or to confirm a hypothesis. Okay, this conclusive research sometimes have to be conducted when you have one or more alternatives or one or more way of doing things, and you need to decide which one is the best in terms of cost or in terms of the impact. Okay, like for example, here you want to find out what is the percentages of consumer who consider hair growth treatments using finasteride. Okay, so this hair growth is one of the issue. I mean, one of the men or women health issues that people are willing to impart their money or pay out of pocket for further treatments, and how much they're willing to pay, or how many in certain age bracket they were willing to come forward for treatment, or do they prefer online consultations. In conclusive research, there are several types. First one is the descriptive research. Okay, descriptive research is conducted to clarify the characteristic of certain phenomena. Okay, so this one demands prior knowledge. That means you already have conducted other study before, or there are secondary data to support your problem statement. Okay, and may require statistical analysis. This one also, I'm sure in your master have learned about the statistical analysis, because to confirm in the inferential calculation or inferential statistic, looking at the significance of the data. Okay, the second one, okay, is experimental research. Okay, experimental research will allow you as a researcher to make causal inferences about relationships. So this is, you can test cause and effect. This one often done in the clinical trials. Okay, let's compare these two types of research. First one, we have here the exploratory research, the second part, the conclusive research. Okay, let's take for example fish oil or omega-3, omega-6. Which one would you recommend to patients that, let's say for example, have suffer from hypercholesterolemia, or suffer from, for example, which like to take for preventions of VTE or thromboembolism? Is there any data to support the use or not in terms of evidence-based medicines? So if you look at if it's just exploratory studies, then it's just mainly to provide insight and understanding. Okay, the study design is slightly loose, the sample size is small, so it's not conclusive. Okay, but whereas if it's conducted under the banner of conclusive research, then you can test the specific hypothesis. For example, is there any significant difference in the patient group taking fish oil compared with placebo? Okay, so in conclusive study, the outcome then will be able to help you to make decisions, or either to you yourself as a consumer, you want to take fish oil or with not taking fish oil. Okay, this one I just show you in advance. Towards the end, I would like you to type out the answers. We have here 5 questions which you have to find at which stage of this marketing research process. I will show this one again. I just want to highlight this. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the pharmaceutical marketing research process. Okay, the step one, now let's look at the step one. Okay, identify and formulate the problem, or not just problem, it could be opportunities. Like for example, you identify a gap in the current market. There is no why this product is never being manufactured, or have it been tried before. So if you want to test, pilot test the market, you can do a exploratory studies. Okay. Step one, focus on uncovering the nature and boundary of the situation. So for example, as I mentioned, some certain new product or existing product, but why there is not used for some certain conditions. Okay. Defining the problem is very important. Just to before the study project is conducted, as the researchers, we must clearly define what is the problem. For example, if you want to know, patients, does it have type 2 diabetes mellitus? If you're going to use either hemoglobin A1C or fasting blood glucose, which guideline you're going to use? Is it just a 6.5, or which value you're going to follow? Okay. And then examine the nature and scope of the situations, okay, to help you to identify the problem. Okay. This then will lead to the aim of the research. Often, if you look at the research studies, towards the end of the introduction, then they will list down what are the aims of the research. Okay, aim or objective, which the method and the result and discussion must be coherent, in the sense that it must align with the aim. Okay. Upon identify the problem, then we will plan the research design and gather secondary data. Here means you conduct a literature survey or literature search, okay, to see what are the current conducted study, what are the available reports. So the research design also part of your assignment, which you're going to learn on the different research method. Okay. What is a research design? It's a overall plan to obtain the information needed to address the problem. Problem just now is your aim and objective that you have identified in the step one. Okay. Okay. Also here in step two, you determine the hypothesis of the studies. What is a hypothesis? Okay, it's an informed guess or assumptions. Like for example, if you have product A and product B, and you would like to compare this, so your hypothesis is the null hypothesis. Normally, there is no difference between product A and product B. Okay, and when you find out when you conducted this, after conducting the studies and you got the results, then you can either accept or reject the hypothesis. If you reject the hypothesis, means the product A and product B, there are no difference. If you reject the hypothesis, that means either the product A is more significant or product B is significant better. Okay. Reliability and validity. This one, in the beginning of webinar, I did mention, don't take it with a pinch of salt, or don't 100% trust the presented data, because sometimes the data are not reliable or not 100% reliable and not valid. Huh? First of all, let's look at reliability. Okay, reliability means the consistency. Okay, if you conduct a clinical, if a product is tested in a clinical trial, if show reliable result when the effectiveness or efficacy are quite similar, the percentage of efficacies, just like what, for example, what have shown in the COVID-19 vaccines. Okay, if it's conducted in country A, country B, like for example, they have 92% efficacies. So then country B, they have like 91. Okay. Valid means it's accurate. Measure what is supposed to measure. Okay. Let's look at the step 3 and step 4. Okay, step 3 specify the sampling procedures. Step 4 collect the primary data. This one is secondary data, is literatures or the reported studies, and primary data, this is the new data that you're going to collect. Okay, so this is what we have gone through just now. If you remember, there is one chart comparing the primary data and secondary data. Okay, so again, the primary data is the data you observe while you're conducting your studies, which later on you record and collect and you analyze it. Okay. Secondary data, like for example, the government report, okay, that you can download or publish studies. Okay, this is some biostatistic terms which use for when you do sample size calculations. Okay, so 3 terms here: populations, sample, and sampling. Okay, population is all the elements for a specific studies. Okay, like for example, if you want to conduct studies on looking at the prevalence of type 2 diabetes in Indonesia populations, so the whole Indonesia population, including those in Surabaya, Sulawesi, or Java, or Kalimantan, Sumatra will be considered as the population internet. Okay, samples. Okay, because in real scenario is quite impossible to collect data from all the populations, the whole 100% populations. So you need to have samples which can use to represent, which is a smaller number but can represent the whole population. Okay, so how to get it done? So you need to have a proper sampling frame or sampling methods. Okay, so that the representativeness is valid. Okay, so this one just to show different type of sampling methods. Okay, quite sure also you have learned this before. You have first one, probability sampling method and non-probability sampling method. Okay, so there are 2 tables presented below. Okay, let's go through together. Okay, first let's look at the probability samplings. Okay, probability sampling is the sampling methods which you can identify, okay, elements of the population being studied. Okay, or you will know what is the chance of a certain or chance of being selected for the studies in each unit or each individual. Okay, this one, if you look at the different sampling method, you will have a better understanding. The second one is the non-probability sampling. On the contrary to the probabilities, in this non-probability sampling, there is no way, or there is very little chance for you to find out what is the percentages of certain individual or some population being chosen as the samples. Okay. Okay, let's first look at the 4 sampling methods under the probability samples. Okay, in terms of study design, probability samples is more preferred because it can have a better reliability. Okay, now let's look at the first one, simple random sample. Simple random samples, you first of all you need to have a sampling frame. Then you have to generate the random number. Okay, let's say for example you have the total class. Let's say you have 100 people. Okay, so you have the list of 100 student name list. Okay, now you use a random sample table, or you can generate through Excel. Okay, it will give you a random number. For example, the first one is 2, and then second one is 57, third one is 81. So all these, then you out of these 100 people, they have an equal chance of being selected in the as a samples. Okay, stratified samples. Okay, this is somewhat similar to cluster. Cluster is normally they divide based on the geographic locations. Okay, stratified sampling here, if you have, for example, male and female, different age group. Okay, so you already stratified them into different smaller groups, and then you use the random sampling methods to select those in each group. Whereas in cluster sampling, same thing also, from different clusters, then you use either simple renders. They use again these simple render sample methods to select from the smaller group. Okay. The fourth one, systematic samples. Okay. If you see the descriptions, it's a bit wordy. Okay, let me see what time. Okay. So now you have a list of populations. Okay, let's say the consumer at one bank, XYZ bank. Okay, so you need to select, isn't it, out of all the population, some smaller group, which is your sample. Okay, and you know that the bank have 1,000 customers, and you after sample size calculation, you just need 100. Okay, 100 people or 100 clients. So 1,000 divided by 100, the interval is 10, isn't it? So you were just standing at the entrance. So every 10 client that walk in, then will be your samples. Okay. Now let's look at the non-probability samples. Okay. In terms of robustness, is less, but it's easier to use. It's not wrong to use, for example, convenience samples. So you just have to justify. Okay. Convenience sample, or as you see from the names, you select based on whatever. Let's say, for example, you are in the mall, so you want to select the mall visitors to be your respondents for your survey. Convenience sampling will be whatever that walk closer to you, or you see have a more friendly outlook, that you have potential to answer you. So okay, or another way is, if you want to do convenience sampling, like wherever people that you can have easier access, of a higher chance to take part in your studies. Judgment samples. This is also part of this convenience sampling, but you have different criteria. So this is also called purposive. For example, you have certain criteria, or it should be, for example, will be able to let's say you are in the shopping mall again. So judgment sample, then you look at their attire to decide whether they should be enrolled in your studies. Okay. Quota samples. So you already have certain numbers to be included. So once these certain numbers fill in, then you consider you can start your research project. Snowball sampling. This is somewhat sometimes preferred to be used in qualitative study. Like for example, you enroll 10 people already. Then from 10 people, you ask them, "Oh, do you have people with such fulfill such criteria or not? Your selection criteria." Then they will introduce their friends, and then their friends introduce their friends. So it's kind of like snowballing, get the ball getting bigger and bigger. Okay, it's very important also to understand, just now we're looking at the reliabilities and the validities, and also type of errors introduced into when data were collected. Okay, first one is the measurement errors. So what is like it's not accurate. Measurement error. Sampling errors, different type of sampling errors. Here we discuss 3 types of sampling errors. First, non-response error. Okay, for example, you want to do a survey to understand the perceptions of patients with depressions, but patients with depressions that tend not to go out or tend not to answer your questionnaire. So this is the non-response error. Okay. Frame errors, which for example, you want to study the behavior of students in UNER, but in the group, there are some other students from other universities. Okay. Random errors. Okay, this is when you are doing your random selections. Either the sampling frame is not accurate or not updated. So therefore, the random selections was considered inaccurate. Okay, now let's look at the survey method used. We can take a short break later on. No, after 1 hour. So let's quickly look at what are the survey research. This is one of the most popular techniques for gathering new data or primary data, mainly because if you want to do a clinical trial, then you the ethics, and also you need to have a proper budget to conduct a clinical trial. Okay, so but if survey is relatively cheaper to run and less labor intensive. Okay, so let's look at what kind of survey research that being presented here. First one is in-home personal interview. So the interviewer will come to your house face to face, and then they will have a longer chat regarding the issues or the aim regarding the aim of the studies. Okay. Second one, more intercept interview. This is like, for example, in general public area, not just in the mall, it could be in the restaurant or in the university's hall, and someone approach you, want to interview you. Okay. The third one, computer assisted personal interviewing. So in this case, let's say I stop you while you are walking inside a mall, but at the same time I'm holding either an iPad or computer, and then I will ask you questions, and then from the response, then I will tick the relevant box. Okay. Computer assisted self-interviewing. This one is rather the interviewer asking you. You are given either the iPad, or if it's paper and chalk, then you write on paper. But there are several computers, then you just go to the computer and answer all these questions, and then press submit. This is somewhat quite commonly used now. If you have received a link to a survey and then you answer the survey yourself. Okay. Okay, compare with this personal interview or online survey, what is the advantages of a personal interview? First of all, you get the interviewer get to have a closer rapport. So then in that case, the respondents tend to talk more or give more information. This is more important, especially for the qualitative, because qualitative study, you need the rich data. Okay. So you can ask further questions and then you can conduct psychological tests also based on whatever tools available. And you can spend longer time rather than if you are in the mall, okay, because they are rushing to get things done, or they might have their kids around with them. Okay. So obviously get more data, the data richness are there. Respondents can be carefully selected. So you have the, if it's simple random sampling, you have a sampling frame, then you can choose based on whatever criteria that the inclusion criteria of your studies. Okay. And give the interviewer greater flexibilities in terms of times and sensitivities or privacies to ask questions. Next one is phone interview. Okay. This often is less welcome because now we are very worried about scammer. Now when you see people calling you from the unknown number, you tend not to receive the call. Okay. Many previously they have this central location telephone facilities where the workers will sit inside facilities, and then they were, it's like a dialing centers, call centers. Okay. Mail survey now also less frequently used. One of the thing is to cut down the use of papers. So we're moving towards electronic survey. Okay. Okay, the last two, executive interview and focus group. Okay, just now we did mention also focus group. It's one of the survey method. Executive interview, just now the home-based one is at home, the location. This one then it will be at their office. Okay. Okay, again, just now is 8 to 12. This one is 7 to 10. Okay, the number varied as long as the interviewer comfortable or the topic visits, does it need more people to discuss, or the availability of the participants. So this one just to compare different characteristics in terms of comparison of survey method from in-home personal interview to focus group. Okay, the criteria include cost, up to ability to handle complex questions. I just pick a few important ones. Let's look at cost. If the time involved is longer, that means it's more costly because you need to pay the moderator, you need to pay the interviewer, isn't it? Okay. And if you're conducting at home, then you need to also compensate the interviewer time to, transportations to go there. That's why you see the here tend to be on the higher side. Okay. Self-administer and one-time mail survey obviously low, especially if you conduct it online. Okay. And if you look at the data quality, the ability to collect, to have a more richness of data, ability to handle complex questionnaire. Obviously, if you have a one-to-one personal interview, will be more data, more focus group also. But compared with focus group with personal interview, like more intimate things, more private things can be discussed in the personal interviews rather than focus group, because you in the group you might not be comfortable, especially all the participants are you strangers. Okay. Let's take a quick break. Let's come back after 5 minutes, then we will continue on the observations research. Okay. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So previously we did discuss survey method. Okay, now let's look at observation research. Observation research, sometimes we call it observational studies. You have the interventional studies and the observational studies. Intervention is like a clinical trial. You are giving some new things to new treatments to participants, but observationals, then no such intervention was given. But what the researcher would do during the observational research? Let's go explore together. Okay, it's a research method that rely on 4 types of observations. The first one, people watching people. It's quite odd, like, so you using a human watching a human, observing a human. Then you have a human observing one activities. The third one, machines observing a human's activities. And the final one, machine observing one human activities. Okay. So these observations then will be properly recorded and then will be analyzed. Okay. There is one type of observational research is mysterious shopper, or they call it secret buyer. Okay. This is where, for example, a company will hire a random person, go to either a mall or shops, and then pretend to be a customer or a diner, and then they give feedback based on the service provided. Okay. There are other types of observations research, for example, behavioral targeting. This is quite commonly used because in this behavior, or they call it BT, so the consumer online activities together with their personal information, so for example, male, female, their income categories, their education background, and their personal preference in terms of their psychological attribute, then will be combined, integrated in the system to see how all these factors influence their online purchasing activities. Okay. What about social media monitoring? Okay. This is, for example, those cookies, okay, by the companies to monitor the activities or how many people choose some certain option or click some certain link. Okay. Ethnographic research. When we say ethnopharmacology, we're looking at the different human behavior or different target group, population group. Okay, looking at how this cultural aspect influence their purchasing behavior. Okay, virtual shopping. This is, for example, you are using a simulators, okay, to simulate or to mimic an virtual or sorry, a real the retail experience before. Like this is, for example, you want to design a new concept store, so you use this virtual shopping experiment to see their response. Okay. Experiment, so this is the empirical studies you use experiment to conduct to test your hypothesis. Okay, so these are the 4 situations just now that you have mentioned, and the example I've just highlight a few. So the first one, human observing human. Okay, so the observer, let's say you would not know, like, there will be just random people inside the store, but they are observing the activities inside the pharmacy. Let's say, for example, they want to see how a customer choose different type of OTC and analgesic, which formulation or which packaging or which brand, okay? And then second one, human observing activities. For example, you have one additional staff at the pharmacy counter to check how many people walk in at the different time, okay, durations. Machine observing humans. This is, for example, it could be just now in the focus one-way glass focus group to see the response of the people, okay, when they're being asked on their perceptions on certain product, okay. In terms of data collections, sometimes also you can outsource it to a field service firm, which is consultancy firms, or it could be a clinical research organizations, okay. Then they will help you to do the data collections in several cities. So logistic wise, you don't have to worry. They have the representative or they have their branch office, okay, either in different country or different cities, okay. And the proper field service firms, they also have focus group facilities. That's like, for example, it's not the one-way glass, okay. There are multiple such field service company or consultancy firm that you can engage to conduct this marketing research. This is, for example, like here, this Opinion Hero, they have in several countries, including Indonesia also, which they can help you to do market research, product testing, new product testing, and then get their pool of, they have their own pool of respondents from different age group, okay. Okay, let's quickly look at questionnaire design, because the questionnaire or survey is the tools used to collect your data. And if you can attend the workshop, or 2-day or 3 days workshop just on looking at the questionnaire study design, okay. So there are mainly 3 types of questions in the questionnaire. First one is open-ended. So they will ask you, for example, what do you like? This is open-ended questions without options, so you're free to indicate your response. Close-ended questions, then, for example, what do you like? A, food A, B, food B, C, food C. So you get to choose from A, B, C, D, E, okay? Close-ended questions, or you can answer by yes or no, okay? Scale response questions, like for example, from scale 1 to 5, how do you rate the service? Or from the extreme dislike to number 5, really like. So how to rank the service given or the product? How what is your personal preference to make some certain purchase? Okay. Let's look at this example, open-ended questions. For example, what advantages, if any, do you think ordering online offers? Okay. Close-ended, if you have the dichotomous one, yes, no question, or multiple choice, as I mentioned. Okay. Scale response questions. Now that you have used the rug cleaner, would you say that you, circle 1, would definitely buy it, and then definitely would not buy it, number 5. So this is normally is the 5 Likert scale. Okay. For those interested to read further, this link is quite good. They discuss in detail how to go about designing a questionnaire. Moving on, let's look at number 5, step 5 and 6. Analyze the data, prepare and present the report. Okay, So you have collected the primary data. Doesn't end there. You need to analyze it to see whether it corresponds or answer your aim of the studies. Okay. So normally then you will type it in the Excel or you export in your SPSS. Sometimes some use this RStudio, different type of statistical software that you are familiar with. Okay. And then you can have a different model or statistical test to help you to do the analysis, either parametric, non-parametric. Okay. And step 6, reporting the research finding. This one is to state in the written form what are the results, and then you put in your discussion. The research finding often based on the requirements for your master's thesis, then you have a certain format, isn't it? Or you then you have to follow such format. Okay, likewise for a sponsor report, you have to ask your sponsor how detailed is it, how many pages, before you start writing such. Sometimes they want the raw data also. You have to give them the raw data. Okay. So then you have the follow-up to see that after the either study conducted, what the next step of future work, which will link you to the first step one again, formulate a new problem or new opportunities. Okay. Okay, let's take some times. In fact, maybe 5 minutes. Can you do it now and then type your type your answers in the chat box. So you have A, B, C, D, E here. So you just need to identify A is which step is it? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Don't worry, this one, no mark will be given, just to get you doing some work before. You can personal message me, or you can put in chat box, show to everyone. Not easy actually. Look quite simple, but yep, I'm still waiting for your response. You can quickly type on the chat box and send it to me. No answer yet? Yeah, thanks, Agong. The rest, yeah, it's not as straightforward. No worries. We'll go through the answers together. I just want you to try first. Hey, Dini, Sharifah. Okay, never mind. Let's go through the answers together. Okay, so this is somewhat slightly different, but if you look at it, is ignore the step, it doesn't match, but just look at the answers. Okay, so the first one, the marketer at Novartis, this is the should be a Danish company. Observe 4 patients how to assemble insulin pen. So this is they are looking at they're doing a field work to see how user-friendly their insulin pen is. So this is, they're collecting primary data, isn't it? This is an observational studies. Okay. B, official at GSK proposed to do something about a study to assess the perceived onset of actions of Panera Activas. Okay, so this is similar to identify and formulate the problem, isn't it? So they have this, they feel that they need to do more studies on the, or market research on the active fast and targeting older people or older adult. But they want to know whether they feel that this active fast, does it have really have a faster onset compared with the conventional Panadol. C, the Pfizer's marketer examine recorded responses. So this is analyze the data. Okay. Researcher at Roche looking at their quarterly reports of their to predict their future sales, the next quarter's sales target. So now they're looking at the plan the study design and collect secondary data. What is a secondary data? The quarterly report is secondary data already, isn't it? It's already collected information. Okay. Marketer conducting a survey to determine that every persons in the population have the known statistical likelihood of being selected. Okay, this is they're doing a sampling procedures. Okay, I hope everyone got it right. Okay, let's move on. Okay, thanks. Quickly discuss what are the technology used in pharmaceutical marketing research, which, for example, this virtual simulations is one of the method also. So it saves time to create a new or physical environment. Now, you have here also an online survey. Okay. So e-marketing information gathering and analysis, which collecting the through online survey. It's because everyone have mobile phone with them, access of internet is accessible. Okay. And then it can help to enhance the customer relationship management, okay, and can access wide range of information from the customer base. Okay, just now I also mentioned about marketing information system. This is, for example, you have drug information system, marketing information system, which is the database having the informations collected from the sales record, okay, that which can help you to generate more information about more effective marketing strategies. So those information include the prices, advertising expenditures, sales volume, what are the competitors' sales volumes, and then the distribution expenses, including other expenses as well, including marketing. Okay. Now everyone is screaming about big data, data analysis, data analytic. What exactly are these? Because the big data, the data, like for example, the sales record from different part of the world, and then from different competitors, it is being collected and by either research company or this market access company. So it add up to the volume, variety, and velocity of how fast the information can be collected, and then help to when it is integrated through artificial intelligence, it can help them to predict, like for example, which are the peak seasons for sales, which populations you could have spent more money marketing, or which channel, which social media could be used, which influencer can give you the best response. Okay. So mostly now, not just offline, also online, and then with this the data visualizations, it can help them to picturize or visualize all these information so that they can help them to translate this into their marketing strategy. This is one example on Facebook. For example, yeah, it's slowly less being used by the younger generations, okay, like which they go into like TikTok or Instagram. But Facebook also have its own clientele. For example, it own and control data collected from 2 billion daily users, okay, and almost 80 billion monthly active users, okay. And then they have increased their marketing intelligence by combining the social data with third-party information from all these, they call it data brokerage, which help to collect data, then they can use it for different purpose, up to, for example, influencing the result of elections, okay. And then these tools will help the advertiser to calculate how much is their return on investments. Let's say that they pump in certain amount of monies, then the Facebook will tell them that, okay, this will help you generate how much more new sales, okay. So the like that you press, the share buttons, all these are being captured, okay. Let's quickly look at the pharmaceutical e-marketing research. So now most pharma marketing research company conduct some form of online research. So this online research has slowly phased out the computer-assisted telephone interviewing, because one of the thing now is we are getting busier. We don't have so much time to listen all this recorded video or talk to the respondents, to ask a question one by one. So what is the use of the internet for marketing researchers? They can use internet to administer survey, conduct focus group also. Just like now, I'm delivering like online lectures. Okay, perform a variety of other type of marketing research. What are the other type of marketing research? For example, web survey system, either through SurveyMonkey or they have their own Quintrax, okay. Google custom consumer survey. Okay, you can create your own survey also using a Google form, online panel providers. This is built-in integrated in your sales. After you're doing some sales, after you bought something, then you press the next link, then they will say, oh, if you answer this, they will give you some point or vouchers. Okay. Advantages of online focus group. This especially in the pandemic era, it's good for social distancing, so secure in terms of preventions of spreading of for example, infectious disease, a better participation rate because they can just stay at home. Okay, cost effective, you don't have to reimburse their travel allowance. Okay, broad geographic scope. Yep, you can combine people from different part of the world to join your focus group. Accessibilities as well, easy to access more people through online focus group. Web communities, this is, for example, different web communities. You have like social group in groups in the Facebook, or on the different social media also. You have a different, you can form a special interest group, which then all these people with a similar interest will join. Okay, then you just specific on targeting, conducting your survey on these web communities. So this will be more cost effective, and also you get to have this snowball effect. Okay, another one is called scanner-based research. Okay, just like this scanner, what does it do? Okay, it continuously monitor the access of your informations, okay, of included participants. The information include what are the advertising information accessed by them, what are the marketing tools being they can have access. Okay, how much in terms of their income they have. Okay, how they influence what they buy. Okay, so this is called a scanner-based research. This is normally conducted by this marketing strategy company like Nelson's. Okay, the info scan, this is a specific sales tracking service like the cookies when they put in to help them to see from participants, agreed participants. Now if I enroll in their program, I'm being compensated by being tracked, so they will know that okay, my particular, my education background, and then what kind of informations website I access, or especially linked to online purchase. Another one very interesting is this neuromarketing. Okay, as you can see, they have this headgear that can connect to their brainwave, and also their this dilatation of the eyes. There are different methods we're going to go through later. So this one is help to quantify the consumer sensory, motor, cognitive, and affective responses when they are exposed to a new product. Like for example, here after seeing some drinks, what excites them, or any extraordinary or any unusual sensory changes, or they are in this case they are given different brochures, and then they will tell from the brainwave, then they will see that how stimulating it is. So there are 7 neuromarketing tools mentioned here. For example, biometric, they're looking also measuring seamlessly the heart rate, the breathing, and then the skin conductance to see how this patients respond to different stimulant or different advertising or different product. Okay, they also have the sensory marketing. Okay, they are given some certain senses or smell, and then to see what are their responses. Eye tracking, this is what I meant just now, when they feel stimulated, then they have eye pupil dilatation can occur. Okay, the headgear is they are measuring the ECG, the encephalogram. Okay. Okay, the importance of ethical marketing research. So, as mentioned, ethics play a very important part also in all research. There's you need to, before your study is conducted that involve human or animals, you need to submit your proposal. You have to do also the informed consent form to make sure that the research doesn't cause harm to the respondents. Okay, so there's some certain professional standard that should be adhered, and then all these universities, all universities, they have this research ethic, medical ethic, they call it MREC, medical research ethic committees, to go through the proposals and then to advise accordingly from religious point of view or from psychological point of view as well. Okay, assignment. This is the interesting part. I'm going to give further information later. So since this is my last webinar, glad you have the access to share via Dr. Andy the rubric, the instructions for the assignment, and then we will have a tutorial also to go through this together. And the previous one, if there's a presentation, then we will provide the presentation slot, which will be the examiners. Okay, for this particular assignment, it's quite straightforward. Mainly you just have to write 2 pages of informations based on the I'll give you 5 pharmaceutical marketing cases, and then you have to choose one. So after choosing the one, then based on the aim and objective, you have to come out the research methods. Okay, really just to tell what kind of either you think this is better to use a qualitative research study design or quantitative. Okay, let's say for example, if you think quantitative is more suitable, what kind of survey or a survey method you would use. Either you prefer, you think that this is more suitable to have either online survey, or you want, for example, a face-to-face computer assisted method. There's no right or wrong answer, mainly just want to know your rationales. Okay, this one will help you to hone your critical thinking skill in terms of when you want to conduct your own marketing survey, how you go about it. Okay, you also have to think about the population size. What is your populations? Sorry, the population and the sample size. Okay, it will be an individual's one. Okay, that which I'll mark, then I'll provide feedback so that we both learn from the process. I think that's all for today. Yeah, feel free to email me at any time. Okay. End the session now. Slightly early. Okay, but just I know you're also very taking the times to attend. So sincere appreciations. Thanks Dini, Agong, Sarifah again for taking the time to attend my sessions. I'll see you again in futures discussions. Yeah, so this wrap up today's session. Thank you so much. See you again.